Welcome back to the iHealth channel, iHealth Radio, the NBC network, The Works, with your host, Hurricane H. New day, new show, awesome topic, awesome guest. I come back, someone that I actually love and enjoy, following myself. And he's been a guest before with us, and his discussions are just phenomenal. We're going to have fun today because we're going to talk some deep stuff. And I think that's the whole thing. It's going to be an open discussion about life and about humans. And so we're going to take it, to a world where we're going to be real, right? So without any further ado, I have with me Michaell Magrutsche. Michael, welcome back, dude.
Thanks so much. Good to see you, H. I really, we became friends, right? We had the first,
Sure.
we had the first episode, and now we're in contact with each other, and see each other. Hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. So that's a great thing. And you said to me, yeah, I'm from Vienna, Austria. I was born there, and 47 years ago, I moved to America. I lived in New York. I lived in Westwood. I lived in Newport Beach. I lived all over, but mostly in the South LA area, Orange County. And I'm currently in Laguna Beach, and an artist community, or ex-artist community. And I have no education, so let's surprise the people right away. But I'm aware. I'm like you. I'm aware. I'm aware where I am. I'm aware that I'm human, that I'm part of nature, that I'm not a system guy that is systemic and knows everything. I know nothing, but I'm aware. And actually, because you are the same, through our discussion, if people say we are not prepared, we have no topics or anything, we just walk in and see how much humans can do with the six senses, instead of just telling each other, hey, let's talk about a car. No, we're not talking about cars. We're talking about humans, and how we humans can dance with each other and create a tremendous value of awareness.
Well, first of all, Michael, it's amazing. You just by the introduction, there's a few things that people will be like, whoa. Well, yes, you heard it right. I mean, Michael is just I told you we're gonna have fun today. Unique, and yes, you're right. We've been friends. I've been following you, you follow me, and we interact, through the social, space. And you're very, you touch on a lot of stuff, during your when you post things, it's really deep stuff. I mean, I have to tell you, if you follow Michael, you will know what I'm talking about. There's quite a bit of I would say wisdom, I call it that, human wisdom, and you just expressed that literally today in one little thing you said. You said our six senses. Most people will refer to us as five senses, because that's what we think, right? The hearing, but when you say the sixth sense, many people may not even relate to that one. Yet it is a real thing. I mean, we all have that sixth sense, and some of us step into it more than others, and so that's a big one. And the other thing, it's funny because you live in Laguna, and I remember that. And I have to say, one of my favorite places in California, in the LA area, is Laguna Beach. It is a beautiful place.
Yeah, beautiful.
Anyone who's been there,
it's the
gorgeous,
nature. Yeah,
gorgeous. You got everything there. I mean, the beach, you got up the hills, you got beautiful stuff, and it's mellow. By the way, I don't know if I said this joke to you like the last time I was in Laguna, but it happened to me. I was with my partner, and there is no smoking in Laguna. You can't smoke tobacco, but you can smoke weed. So that's another story. but here's the thing. So the guy, he was smoking, and but the irony, he was smoking under a sign that says no smoking. So don't even ask. Don't And this girl came and she was screaming at him. And he's like, "What is she screaming at? I'm not doing anything. I'm in the air. This is outdoors, right? Literally by the beach."
Yeah.
And so another guy comes in, dude. First of all, there's a sign that says no smoking, but he says there is no smoking anywhere in Laguna Beach. I mean, and that's what he said. You can smoke all the marijuana you want, but you cannot have tobacco, or cigarettes rather. So it was like an interesting thing. That's like
I didn't even know that. You actually did. I thought all smoking is over off now. I think.
This was a few years back.
I know you. I think that was at the beginning, and then they adapted because there's no vaping either. There's no vaping either, which I just found out, like a month ago.
Listen, I'm not a big fan of either one of those things.
Yeah,
So again, I never smoked and I would never
yeah,
do. I'm a health freak when it comes to those things.
yeah,
Listen, my lungs, we listen. It's funny. We're talking about human stuff, right? We had the pandemic, right?
yeah,
And people were dying because the coronavirus kills
yeah,
your lungs, right? I mean, that's the primary place where it attacks,
yeah.
right? Well, we do the same thing by smoking and everything else
Exactly.
that is destroying ourselves, and we still think that it's a cool thing. Now, I get it. The problem is not even so much that it's cool. People are aware that it's bad for them,
Yeah,
but once you get caught into the addiction, and that's a whole topic on its own. I
yeah,
think that's the problem. I mean, I've had this discussion with many people who smoke,
yeah,
and when I talk to them, they say, "I want to quit. I've tried to quit, and I can't." And I know it's addictive, and I don't know what to do, and that's really the problem.
yeah.
It is bad. But so Michael, it's funny that you talked about that sixth sense, and you said that we strike a conversation ticket, somewhere,
Yeah,
right? And we don't know much, and we
yeah,
do know something. Like, you and I, we had this brief
yeah,
discussion before. Like I always say, I am no one, I am someone. I am from nowhere, I am somewhere. And that's actually true because think about it, folks. Everybody's in the same boat. You are someone for somebody. You are no one for somebody else.
exactly.
You are somewhere in your life, and that somewhere can mean something to someone and mean nothing to others. And that's
Exactly.
the whole thing. Like that's why someone like, well, he's famous, he's rich, he's this. It all depends who's looking at your angle and
Exactly.
how you see the world yourself. And so it's very fascinating when you start thinking about these logics,
Yep.
and we don't use a lot of that. Michael,
Uh,
I know this is something you enjoy,
I
so
would
let's
say
talk about that.
I would also say there is everybody is an expert or nobody is an expert. You can't have only certain humans being better than other. It's impossible because nature made us. Nature is 8 billion humans, right? And everybody is the same. We know it scientifically, even systemically. We know everybody has a different DNA. And when you look at your family alone. Not everybody loves the same person. Not everybody loves the same music. Not everybody likes the same job. Everybody is different. So there is either everybody is an expert, because system often says, hang out with rich people, then you're gonna get rich. Hang out with poor people, then you're gonna be poor. And I think it doesn't mean anything because I was never really rich. I feel rich, but I was never really rich. But I hang out from poorest people, homeless people, to the wealthiest people, to billionaires. So I hang out with all of them. And I don't feel like, because when I hang out with rich people, I don't get money. And when I hang with poor people, I don't lose money. It's everybody can be, you can learn from people or you cannot. If you think I need to change age because I just have a thing, I need to teach him, age, you can't do this, you have to get this car and you have to do this and you have to get this woman and whatever. No, I don't want to change you because I can learn from your life perspective. And that's actually, you always win when you're with people, even if you disagree, because you're learning. If you open and say, hey, this is one of one. This is not one. There's not 20 H's running around or Michael's running around, right? There's one of one. What an honor. And that's why it's so exquisite, the podcasting, because it's so human centric. Because we're not talking about generalization. We're talking about these two people talking to each other, and with our six senses, which allows the listener or the viewer to comprehend the conversation, because it's not, you don't have 20 people that write your dialogue like in network news, right? That it's just like about hyping whatever. You just talk to me. You have perhaps one technician or something, but you're talking primarily to me, and people like podcasts so much. I mean, this election was one bad podcast. We
Joe
shifted
Rogan.
from yeah, we shifted from system relevance to human centric, because people are sick of hearing keywords. And who gives you 3 hours of talk or 2 hours of talk? Who? Nobody. No network. They give you 20 minutes. They say what you're going to talk about, and then you go. So politics. I just did a podcast with my partner in Michelle Cheen and the Wisdom Seekers. We did, I think, about the human centricity of what human politics means. Not what system. We know system politics. Everybody knows to the detail how system politics work. You got to say this, you got to use that color, you got to do this, you got to that. But and you say what you're political correct. You say the words that people expect. When you give somebody 2 hours, he has to undress. I always say that. I always say that when you have sex, somebody can tell you everything. When it comes to sex with that person, there's no hiding. You can be, hey, I'm a billionaire, whatever, and now let's undress. Once you're naked, all the truth comes out. It doesn't matter what you have or who you are.
Michael, I'm listening to you. It's amazing, right? You're right. You said it best. I mean, there is that systematic stuff that exists, right? And there's a conformity to all those systems, and there's a certain way to act and behave because that's how the expectation is, right? Mm-hmm. And we always we hear this. Well, I want to set the expectations. And I get it. It works in the environment of business and so on and so forth. But you're right. In the world, for example, of podcasting, which is, by the way, it's the fastest growing, thing in the media. It's new media. Even the White House now is asking anyone that's a creator, they can actually become, officially, affiliated and all the stuff. So there's all kind of stuff. And you're right. With Joe Rogan, actually, is the number one currently, podcaster in the world, and he actually was a key, piece of this whole election, as you stated, a minute ago. But also the concept is, as you said, when everything is scripted, everything timed. You're right.
Everything is controlled. Everything is
there's editors and this and producers and you can even in the movie, right? Everything is scripted, so there is an actual message that needs to be done in a particular way. In the podcast, it is genuine. It is
live.
It's
live.
It's live. It's also accurate. I mean, it's not. There's no curation to this. It is what it is, real, right? And by the way, that's actually what I base this whole network concept on. Is there is all the other networks, all the media stuff. This is a resourceful and informative and curated. It's different. I don't want it to be the same. I want it to be a special, different edition, if you want to call it
human-centric. You want it human-centric, not system-relevant. That's the big thing,
Well, that is correct. Now, you referred to that with human-centric, and you're right. There is only one Michael. There's only one hurricane, right?
Yeah.
Well, Hisham, right? A hurricane is my stage name, but it's still one you. Yeah. And that is the beauty of it. I love what you said about you can hang out with a rich person and not so rich person. Yeah. And by the way, I'm not even gonna because when you put rich and poor, what does that mean too?
Well, famous, system relevant, relevant.
Yeah. Because that's we use those a lot, as comparisons. A rich person. What does that mean? I think when we think rich is rich has money, right?
Elon Musk, right? But Elon Musk doesn't own anything. He lives in a $55,000 trailer that he makes like Teslas. So to have that people have cheap out because housing is so expensive. He lives in a $55,000 trailer. He doesn't own anything. I don't think he has one Tesla even. And if he has to, think he has to buy it. So the perception that we have, this is the richest person in the world, is not true. It's like, he is probably in charge of that wealth, but he doesn't own anything, or very little. I mean, we think there's a lot of richer people out there that own more, they have land and whatever, they own more. But it's just a system relevant makes that intangible because they just said, look, he's poor. And we know Elon is rich. But you can also do, your fame and everything you can do with debt. You can go in debt and say, you get $1 million in debt and all of a sudden you're a millionaire. No, you owe $1 million, and or you buy something with debt, you're not rich. It can be gone tomorrow. So since all this, how do I say that? It's the lying. It's pretending. Because look at the Instagram. Your neighbor is on Instagram. That guy has zero money. But on Instagram feed, he is in front of the Ritz-Carlton, and he probably wasn't even in there taking a pee. He was just in front of the Ritz-Carlton making a photo, He's going, one time he's invited to a wedding with cocktails, and your neighbor says, oh, look at me, what life I live. Everybody's pretending because everybody thinks we need to be all the same. No, everybody lives their own life. Everybody has their problems, and we are one. We are all one. We are all interconnected. As much as I want to not be that person or I hate him, it's a part of me. So,
Michael, it's amazing, right? Because in the beginning you talked about like there are 8 billion people in this
yeah,
world, right? And we don't know everything, and everybody knows something about something, right?
exactly.
And frankly, that's what makes us, humanity or human in general, because that's the fabric that we are. We are diversified in colors, languages,
Yeah,
cultures, religions, you name
yeah,
it. We have it. And by the way, there's always someone that knows more. There's always someone that owes more. There's
yeah,
someone that has better things, and those are things that, whether you like it or not, it's just going to be part of life. Sometimes
yeah.
we blame, our circumstances. Sometimes we look up too much for people who have so much. And you're right. We see what we want because that's what we tend to look at. But
Yeah.
really, is that person happy? Right? At the end of the day, what is it that we want in life? This is a question to everybody watching or listening. If you're given a wealth, and somehow you're able to quantify happiness and given that
Yeah.
to yourself, which would you take?
Happiness, because if I'm poor and happy, I don't care that I'm poor. If I'm happy, if I'm wealthy and I'm unhappy, I have cancer, I have all that stuff. What does it? Happiness is, and also that you are not different. If I see you, I don't say, oh, he's a different race. Oh, he's from a different country. Oh, he's from the. Why would I do it? See, whenever you go into system relevance, you segregate, because you segregate in age, you segregate in race, in gender. I don't even, when they say now, oh, there's only two genders. I said, no, it's bullshit, because they're not. There's humans. That's it. There's all should be only humans, because women are not equal to men. Sorry, whatever anybody says, you cannot say, oh, there's only two. Why are there two? Why are there not one? Humans, and we also female, and we also African American, and we also think, but we're first human, and that because everybody, like you said, contributes. Every we are all one-on-one. That I always said it's like a valve in a tube. Yes, we all humans are different valves. The one lets the air out straight, the other one makes a spray, the other one is plugged up or whatever, and it comes to us, and it's on purpose that we're different race. Nature doesn't make mistakes. Nature says it made you 101 because that's what it is. Like even when you know dogs or cats, every day cat is different. Why would nature be so stupid to make that? Right? Why would God? I always say, don't go to God. Go to just nature. And then whatever your belief is, you can do it. Why would nature make you 101 age? Why would it make that? So you can figure out in your life how you are in the whole. See, it's always a part of the whole. So there's the 101 that we each are, and when I talk to you, you teach me, I teach you, we learn more of the whole. See, it's like it's in between. We're in between 101 and the whole, but we always interconnected. We're never segregated. As much they say, I heard a very good talk yesterday about telepathy. That they're scientifically proven telepathy. They know kids, and then I saw also, and this comes out now, all the stuff. They have superhuman powers, obviously systemic. They look at the superhuman telepathy and whatever, but every human is unique and limitless. So they find kids, they cover their eyes, they go bicycling, they tell you the color of what you give them, because the brain, the energy, they feel the vibration of red, of green, of yellow. It is we are all limitless, because why would nature make some kids that are super? It doesn't do that in nature. There's not one tiger that is better than all. Yeah, it might be the leader right now, but there's always good tigers coming. They're not, we are all specific, and that one is good in making babies, the other one is good in hunting, the other one is good in seeing. Everybody, we need awe. We need that feeling of awe because it lets us go. We can let go of that misconception that if I don't do it, nobody does it. I had that a lot. I said, I had to do it. If I don't do it, nobody does it. No. Until 50, age till 50, I was saying, oh, I have to know everything. And at 50, I got it. I don't know why I got the awareness, right? And I said, no, I don't have to know anything. I know the right thing when I confront it. With you, I know the right thing. I told you even before, hey, I don't have an education. I have 6 years school. And I'm neurodiverse extreme, so I can't even, I have a hard time reading. I can speak, but if you ask me to read a speech, I would who cares?
Michael, so there's a few things that are very powerful you said there. So one is the idea that we all have human powers. And by the way, everybody's powerful. And that's the thing, like it's like we have the raw material. We have the raw everything, the ingredients. The question is whether we tweak them, do we evolve them, do we work with them, do we kind of make them magnify whatever we have within? And that can come in the form of education, non-education, skills.
Yeah,
exactly. As you said, I love what you said also about the education. I mean, this is, you said systematic, right? The system says you got to go to school 12 years, then you got to go to, college, blah, blah, 4 to 7, whatever, or maybe even more. And so you spend 16 to 20 years in formal education to learn. Yet, that was never the case. Yes, you have a system that created a formula so we can differentiate between people's skills and abilities, in a formal way, and so we can get them into, the system again, the bigger system, the bigger picture. However, learning, I think even Elon Musk said this, that you can learn, and knowledge is available every day to everyone, and now more than ever. I mean, before you would have to pick up a book and read, maybe, yes, it would be difficult.
Now you have AI, it's access. You don't even have to know anything. You can't even type. Just say, hey, how do I get the prime number for this divided by this into the needle thing of that? And it says, blah, 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 and there it is. This is actually very good, what you just said. You brought me about knowledge. Knowledge, you know what we did? This is what humans did. That's why you and I are talking about human-centric. Because we invested in technology since the steam engine. We say, oh my God, it's greater. It's greater than humans. It has 100,000 horsepower. So we can do it. And they put all our intent is put into technology. We come to a point where technology is 300 to 400 times more evolved than humans. So when we invented a knife, like we saw, they had some shards of rock, and then that was the Bronze Age and the Iron Age, and we could actually forge a nicer linear sword or a knife. But the knife and the sword never told us what to do if you want to kill somebody or you want to cut a sausage. It never told us that. We put so much, because we are not conscious, we put so much energy into technology that we have now created a technology that is smarter than us, that actually, can go off. This should never be. It's a tool. AI is a tool. And what is it? It's a Band-Aid for all the system stuff that we don't want to update. Because once that system is done, nobody ever says, oh, finally I can be a human. I can relax. I have a job. I have an income. I don't want to change my system. But that's then to put a Band-Aid on, you can do it longer. But, we live long time. So you have to update the system. And the same in education. In the old days, you learned a trade, you could do that, right? You were a carpenter. That's enough. Today, technology changes so fast. You cannot say, oh, I love to be a carpenter. I love to be a whatever. No, you can't say that anymore, because technology goes so fast that what is education? So that's why I'm working on an education thing with so funny. We have like three women and I work on the education, and they're all over the world. We're working worldwide on, one is AI, one is actually lived in Canada, and she moved to Serbia. So this is all worldwide. And she had a totally independent farm in Canada where You had to get solar panels, everything. There was no access. She was in the woods, in this little town. And you know why she went? She went into education because she saw a kid in the school that said, "Oh, I think butter comes from the supermarket." She didn't know that was
true.
yeah, it is true. But so she got some more goats and everything, and then she had a real successful school, and now she make online thing. But it's like we're working on the education because education came from 1845. This is what it stands for, all systems. 1845. It was for boys only, and was for the Prussian boys, for the Prussian army. You have heard, you're from Europe, the Prussian army, the German army, 1845. They needed soldiers. And that's why it was only education for boys. The first education that was in a classroom. It was only for boys, and it was to get the boys, hey, this guy's a good digger for trenches. This guy is a good cannoneer. This guy is really good with horses. This guy's good with a gun, and the other one is good with a saber. And the other guy's good. So they sorted them out in school, and they prepared them for the Prussian army. And that's still the same. We just put a band-aid on. And AI is the big band-aid for all these outdated systems. We can update system right away, or we can cut them like Trump does now. He just ends them and said, that's you got to stop that, yeah. But that's the only thing. We can actually, instead of cutting them, we can update some of them, and make them life systems that actually go by our awareness. That we say, okay, women are not worse than men. We don't need that segregation anymore, or all that stuff. And we don't do it. We're just not aware. And this is why the podcast is so good, because we need only one or two people that get aware, that have some pull. But I found also that nobody has pull anymore either. I find that also out. There's only the very, very top people. Most systems are so frozen, they don't know. I'm working now with, I think, 10 systems, because I lost my home 7 months ago. And I can't find a room. It's not even a money issue. I can't even find a room in this area around, not only Laguna, because I can't find a room to be. And everybody thinks, oh, they have a room. They can help you. Nobody knows. And they have tremendous amount of money. I mean, they can't find, and because all this stuff comes now to the surface, also with podcasts, that they, $24 billion for California homeless is nowhere. Nowhere. I've not seen a room in 7 months. I've not seen a room where I say, hey, I don't want that. It's too big. It's too expensive. I haven't seen it. And everybody thinks, oh, everybody has a job. Everybody has a thing. Everybody can, no. Just in Laguna, I think 80 businesses closed in the last 4 or 5 months. Just because we need to update. Like you and I grow, when we burn our hand, we're not going to touch the oven again. That's updating,
That's right.
right?
Well, that's common sense, right? We're supposed to do that, but but like my friend says, common sense, not commonsensical.
Exactly.
It's unfortunate. You think that's the easy way to do this. Well, Michael. So a couple of things there. First of all, I love where you went there. Like, you're right. We've created technology all these centuries, to upgrade our life in a way, right?
Yeah.
To enhance our way of doing it. We came a long way, right? Throughout all the different cycles of knowledge that have been through the history and the cultures, right? Persians, the Romans, the Islamic Greeks, and so on, so forth, the Renaissance. Then while we're in the West, right? But you're right. We get to a point where, if you look, and this is true story for everyone that's watching the news or not news or just trying to figure out things. We advanced so fast in the last 50 years, more than ever. We have, even the last 20, like since the inception of the internet to now. I mean, we're like information galore. I mean, like, information is like so fast and so available and easy. Like, it's a joke. Like sometimes I have discussions with people where we go back to the days when we had to go to a library to find a particular book.
Exactly.
Now you, like you said, now ChatGPT, I need this and the other. Here's a list of the books. Here's what they are. Here's a summary, and here's how you do it. You can even get a script. You put in another
Yep.
AI. Now you have a whole, video that is
Mhm.
talking about exactly that, and you don't have to do anything. And you're right. There's a level of adaptation that I think we're missing. There's different currents. Some people are against that adaptation, and frankly, live you have to adapt to things, right? But you're right.
Exactly.
There's a point. We created this thing called AI. Now, I'm all for AI in a lot of ways,
I
but there is a risk, and the creators of this AI didn't know that it is forever, everlasting, ever learning. And so here's the thing: it's learned already everything it can learn in
Yeah.
the context of information that's
Yeah.
available publicly. And so with search engines like Google and Bing and all these things, you are already at the max of knowledge. And matter of fact, you can tell any advanced AI now, can you
Yeah.
read the whole internet about one topic? It will read it in split seconds and give
Yeah.
you the summary, right? So do I need to do all that when I can get this? And by the way, that's the argument with the new generation. Like, I mean, the alpha, well, not the alpha,
Yeah.
like the C gen, right? They're more adaptable to this than other generations. So they can tell you, I don't have to do this. Why do I have to have a calculator, for example, to
Yeah.
calculate stuff when I can just, hey, what's 1 times 3 trillion minus 5 trillion
Yeah.
plus 2 billion? I mean, you know what I'm saying? And it will be like, boom, here's the
Yeah.
answer. So sometimes I think we have to adapt the systems, as you said. But this is all again going back to the
Yeah.
system centric versus the human centric,
Yeah.
and but it's all connected because who created systems?
Absolutely. No,
The
no,
humans.
absolutely.
It
Oh,
is our fault.
no, no. It's our fault because we were not conscious. See, the awareness is the thing. Because there was a pivot point, like you say, 20 years ago or something, where first you had to really, you were an expert, right? You were an expert in something. Now with AI, there's no expert. And knowledge is no expert. Where once it's on the web, you can look it up in YouTube. I don't need to get a plumber. I look it up and do whatever I see on YouTube. But you need to, this is a way of living differently. And that's why I want to change the education where it helps you how to get along with this technology, how to deal with these technologies, how to live life when the super jobs of a programmer, coder are gone. I mean, would you have thought that a lawyer, a coder, I think that these jobs would have been gone with the technology? I would have never even imagined that. And they're gone. And you thought, oh, we need these people because we need this and this. No, it's. So what happened is what humans did, and we need to say not blame and finger pointing. And Larry, the guy from Oracle, just said 2 days ago or 3 days before that Chinese AI stock came and dropped everything, right? He said, we're already on the next thing. AI is already outdated. This is what I tell you. You need to say, yeah, we use it. It knows everything. Good. ChatGPT, it's complete. Go to the next thing. So they're going to the next thing, and we cannot catch up with the awareness. Like I said, the knife doesn't tell you if it cuts a sausage or try to stab someone. So we cannot create the next thing. And what's happening in the digital world is the most inhumane world because I can cancel you in the digital world. I can do all the stuff in the digital world. I can say, hey, you are this, you never get rid of that. I don't want to say it, you can never get rid of it. So you can actually harm people because it's technology, it's not human. It looks at the general, what can I do with the general population? And what that does is it gave us it gave us cryptocurrency, then NFTs, then Bitcoin as it went back, and then AI, and now it's going to come something else. And it was always outdated. It's always outdated. So it's never enough because basically it comes all from our financial principles that's so outdated that no matter what you and I do, we get my car company right now, we're making 100 grand. Tomorrow we have to make 120 grand. See, it's never enough. And the digital plays that perfectly because there's no money investment relative. I mean, they pretend money and money isn't worth anything. $1 billion is not worth what $1 million was 20 years ago. It's just but it just reconfirms. So we need to say, our awareness needs to say, okay, there's human centricity, which created all. We created the systems, we created the AI, we created the internet, we created everything. So human-centric is the core, because, and now I tell you why. Not even if you don't believe it, it's say, hey, no, I like digital world best. Without humans, digital world systems are irrelevant. You don't need an energy company. You don't need a telephone company. If there's no humans, who should use it? So the value, the core value of all money is humanity. Because if humans don't exist, or they're too poor, and they're too stupid to manipulate anymore, because that's what's happened now, where people don't give a shit. They just don't. Okay, I'm homeless. I don't care. I sleep on the street. That's where it goes. So it needs to have priority human centricity, because the systems were a little bit less human centric, because they generalize. They say, oh, you're from this country, I'm from that country, you're a male, you're female, and then the digital world, everything is possible. You can call yourself emoji, and you are that emoji. It has no it's fan. It's as long as you look. If I know petrol can inflame, I can deal with petrol. But we are not knowing this. We're mixing human centricity with digital world and human centricity with system relevance, and it's not going to work, because you say, okay, in human centricity this is jealousy, but in the thing you can be in the digital world, you can be blamed for this or whatever. It's like you can be ousted and deleted. It's just inhumane. It's the most inhumane. Digital world is the most inhumane, and we have to know that.
Well, Michael, so you're touching on a big topic, right? And it's real, because you're right. I mean, a lot of us today, and I notice this even with my kids, right? They live in the social media, for example, right?
Yeah.
Which is all digital based cyberspace, right? So you have friends that you never met, that you interact with, that you have probably zero chance to meet in real life in a personal, aspect, unless you're close enough. I mean, listen, you and I, we met a couple of years, we still haven't physically met, right? And the case goes for all my guests, right? Or where I guess. But so that there's a different, now at least, this is more of an interaction. But when you're talking about social, some people don't even have a face, they're just,
emoji.
That's why we have,
avatars.
And that's what, the avatars. And we have these things now where, like, even the systems are like, oh, are you a robot? You have to double check to make sure that you're not really just interacting with a bot, right? There's a lot of bot stuff now with actually talking about AI. You have avatars of humans. I mean, I can duplicate. As a matter of fact, I've tested it. I have my own avatars literally that can do exactly what I'm doing. Literally, I can post it right now. There's one where I'm talking, but I'm not talking. It's me. It's the same guy. It's Hurricane sitting in this desk doing my stuff. But it's really a script that I've generated through my avatar that looks exactly like me and my voice. It's amazing how it's amazing, but it's dangerous. Now, we're talking about deepfakes. You could talk about the ramification of all these things that can go very extreme, in a lot of ways. And that's the thing. Do we have a way to potentially control these things? It seems like there is none. I mean, this thing is just ever evolving. And to talk about, like, we've already gone from the basic AI. We are actually now talking about, what is it, agentified AI or something like that, where
no, it's not even AI anymore. It's something completely different.
There you go. So in your opinion, Michael, do you think we are in a precipice of destruction of humanity?
No, I think we are not. As long as you and I exist, there's no such thing. We're not allowing it to happen, right?
Hopefully not.
No.
We'll do our best.
As long as the podcast, Alex Sanfilippo, he's the human-centric guy. So as long as...
My man.
Yeah, he's my man too. And then, so all this stuff, we... human-centric. And as long as they're podcasters, it stays human-centric. The problem is, you don't want to put an AI agent instead of you, because they're creating podcasts now where they have a guest, like you have me as a guest and you as a host, and the two talk to each other, and AI makes up a conversation between us. Could never be as good as this. Never, ever.
Oh, actually, Michael, you're right. So I'll go one up. There is an actual AI app right now
Yeah,
where it's not any real ones. You just give it a script. I want a topic of
yeah, yeah, I know.
podcast with two
Yeah,
people. It creates the two characters. It creates the script, the dialogue, and it talks. But you're right. It is almost like a baby doing podcast.
yeah.
So that's how it sounds.
Because yeah, it's not aware. AI is not aware. And there knows whatever we know. Knowing is a copy because it comes knowledge to it becomes knowledge when we then can copy it. So it's a copy. So a copy, but the life is always a new moment. It's never how old all the life you lived or I lived. I'm 65. Every moment was different. I cannot say, oh, it's the same moment. I say, yeah, this reminds me of something, but it's totally different moment. So life is, and if we get generalized, then what's going on? It's boring. If everybody wears the same clothes that are the most famous AI designed clothes, we're boring. I mean, look at the pictures AI makes. The most boring thing, I know it's an AI picture. And already, I like a picture that's screwed up. I like a where you made a mistake, where you didn't do it the lighting right. Because that in itself is not a mistake. I did pictures that where I thought that never works out, and then it worked out in another way, so much better because we have perspectives. AI has binary, A to B, or one or so. So we they can AI is not aware, and AI is a big bandit for all the system. Why it's so everybody's so crazy is because we have created systems so complicated that we need the computing power to fix all the mistakes. But it's again a band-aid. It's not the cause. The cause is we are unaware. We create technology and systems that got out of hand instead of we're in charge. I'm in charge of a knife. I'm deciding what to do with a knife. I can't be in charge of AI. I could if I would have if that was my creation. Whatever
Well,
I
there
create, I'm in
there's
charge.
there's only one way is to cut the power.
Yeah, yeah,
You have to literally have a full loss of energy power, which by the way, some
yeah,
doomsday, prophecies do indicate that there will be a point where we will lose all that and
yeah.
all the technology will be obsolete and therefore they wouldn't be existent. Now we don't want to live to see that. Hopefully it will never happen, or at least, but there's some discussions. And by the way, I was just looking at a couple of days ago about the 89 seconds to midnight. I don't know if you saw that,
No.
the atomic bulletin, and so we're closer to doomsday concept. There's
Bullshit.
this well, again, I mean, I'm just,
Yeah,
it's amazing, like that.
it has to get both to see the difference. We have to have doomsday. I'm not against doomsday. Okay, bring it on, doomsday. Okay, we're gonna go over. No, it just, but because when you deny it, you create it, right? So when you say no, I'm super skinny. I'm not overweight now. No, you can't lose weight. You say, yeah, I'm over it. That's it. Let's, it's you can't get rid of something that you deny. If you said, I want to go against the systems, no, update the systems. I want to go against this person. No, you strengthen the person.
Well, it's a great point, Michael, because you know you can challenge things, or you can adapt to things, or you can work with things. And I think
Yeah,
working with things is
yeah,
usually where wins. But
yeah,
because at the end of the day, when things already occur, can't change that. It's already
yeah.
here.
It's
So
done.
now
It's done.
you have to figure out a way to manage it, right? And to work with it.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's things that it got our hand. Okay, so how do we go from this point on? And so now it's all opinionated. So there's different.
Yeah.
I mean, we can have literally there's 8 billion people here on this planet. I
Yeah.
think we'll have 8 billion opinions about one single item.
Yeah.
Imagine if you get two people in a room to meet and we have debates. You get four people, forget
Yeah.
about it. You get 10,
Yeah.
we never have a decision at
Yeah.
anything, right? So
Mhm.
it's very difficult. I mean, humans, we're like too complex, yet we can be very simple. As you said, at the end of the day, we can shut down everything. If once
Yeah.
you
We
don't
have
care
the
about
money.
it,
We have that. We create value. Nobody creates value. We create value. System value is created by systems. Digital value is created by systems. But ultimately, all of them, systems as well as digital world, are living from humans. Because if humans don't buy what they sell, if we don't buy NFT, the NFT thing was a big thing and the people didn't buy it. So they have to come up, because it's not real. The digital world isn't real. So they have come up with AI, crypto, all this stuff. They have to constantly come up with a fad. And sooner or later, people will say, I'm not going to go with this fad anymore. I just don't. It doesn't matter what it can do and how easier my life is because of whatever AI. I'm not going to spend all my money, because tomorrow AI everybody can have, which the Chinese just showed us. You know, everything dropped. NVIDIA, all this stuff dropped because the Chinese, and again, we didn't do it together. We punished them and said, no, you can't get the chips you get because you have all things. So human against human, there's no such thing. Because you're Chinese, you're Jewish, you're Palestinian or whatever, who cares? You're one of one human, and nature made us thing. And if you like it or not, we have to work together, because nature doesn't make a mistake. We are just not conscious that, oh, I have to be a friend of this Jew and this Palestinian and this black person and whatever. No. Get rid of it.
We create our own labels, we create our own borders, we create our own
systemic
differences. Well, here's the thing. There is a, somehow, without getting political, but there is a almost a gain from all these segregation,
systemically, yeah.
And those things. However, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because if I say to you, I'm a woman and you are a man, that is easier for the system, and the system can save money. If I say I'm gonna get the black people, I get the older people, that's a systemic segregation. And you know, there's 90-year-old people, they're like young kids, and there is 50-year-old people that look like 120. You know, they're so destroyed already. Everybody's a one-on-one. You cannot generalize medicine, like with the pandemic and all. You cannot generalize it, and you cannot even control it where you say, if you're not my opinion, you have to follow the opinion. That's systemic. That's not human-centric. Because how can you prove to me that one opinion of 8 billion is the right one for all humans? Our only human common denominator is that we are human. So why don't we go to human first? Because that's a common denominator. Yeah, we are black, we're green, we're yellow, whatever. But the common denominator is human. It has the value. It has all the juice. It has the money. It has everything. It has the innovations. We all bring us together into the one, right? Like what we're doing right now. I haven't talked about this. I'm usually have a plug into us, in you and I, our mastermind, and then just talk what comes out. I'm a loudspeaker, basically. I'm a both speaker.
Well, Michael, I'm listening to you. It's funny because, I'm gonna give a funny thing, right? So if you watch movies about aliens, right? Now, that's what we can have a nice.
Oh, I can go in this one too.
Yeah. But hold on, this is a fun thing. So why is it that when we depict aliens come in, they always want to speak to the like a good example is the Man of Steel, Superman, right? Yeah. When the general came this planet, they wind up in the US. I mean, specifically. I mean, there's like humans all over the planet. Why is it that these guys are only going to select, for example, the US? That's one. The other thing is, you would look at the Independence Day movie, for example. Well, for once, we got one common space, power that came to this earth, and finally everybody's equal, everybody's connected, everybody is one. What does it have to do that? What does it have to take, for us to actually, as you said, be human-centric, be human, and all work, and one doesn't make a decision for everyone. It is, some people could say you guys are too, easy going in life, you're idealistic in this. Not idealistic, folks. What we'd like to see is that, we, first of all, you said something very unique earlier, and I want to touch on it quickly. You said when I hit 50. Now, I have to say, I don't know what, I do agree with you. When you hit the 50 mark, your life becomes different. Whatever it is, I think that's the actual divider time frame where you start seeing your life. I think, listen, I experienced it too. So I am not the same.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought.
No.
Okay, but this is. But it could be with 48. but
No,
it could be 20. You know what I mean?
well, again, for me, that somehow
Yeah,
that date has shown, like, you see the world differently. I mean,
yeah,
and here's how I try to think about it, and I see it this way. Well, 50 is a half a century technically, right? And
yeah,
God bless anyone, and we want
yeah.
everybody to
Oh
live
yeah,
as long as they're meant to live on this world.
yeah.
But but the fact is, you've lived 50. When you look at 50, it's like, what the hell? It went fast. I mean, you just barely kind of enjoyed it.
You can't
And
even
now you're
remember.
exactly, and you're here. And now, how long you gonna make it? Okay, another 50, let's say you got 100. But
Yeah,
no one as you just said it, some people, they may look good at 90, but some people may not look good at 90.
yeah,
And whether you're going to be as active and healthy and happy and moving and all stuff, it's going to be very different. So technically you kind of lived the majority of the good stuff, already. So you see the world differently. You evaluate everything differently. Is it worth it for me to go crazy? And that's why I love what you said. I don't care anymore. Because
yeah.
you get to a point like, and by the way, this is true. I follow a lot of people who have similar, ideology, and what they say is like, I don't care about the opinions. I don't care about this. I don't care because they already know it's a hoax almost because
It's one opinion. It's
yeah,
one whoever I can say my opinion. The whole world needs to go of my opinion. What is this insanity, right? If I say, okay, my opinion is that, let's say that white people are devils, right? If that's my opinion, right? And now everybody has to believe this. I know so many white people that are really nice. I know bad races. I know bad genders, but I also know the good ones. It is different. And the good ones for me, for them, for other people, they might be the worst person. For me, that person is the perfect. That's why it's the dancing with humans that where you learn and where you get more aware about human centricity. But if we always focus on, oh, how is my avatar? How is my Instagram? How is this? That, well, like I said, when I told you, said your friend goes, is in front, he doesn't go pee even in the hotel, but he makes a photo that he was there, right? So he does systemically empowers him. He's not enough. See, this all comes from the essence of financial principles. It's never enough, no matter what we do. Like we said, you and I make a company, we need always more. And the only thing, so you scale, right? That was in the last 10 years or 20 years, it's got to scale, scale, scale. So you scale, you generalize in systems, not in, and obviously digital world too. You scale. And then when you have everything, how you going to make more? It's never enough because it's never enough. So the only alternative is cut costs. And when you cut costs, so for example, you and I have all the horses in New Jersey. Nobody can, we have scaled. We were so hard. We had the best quality treatment for the horses, whatever, in New Jersey. We have it. We think, but what we're going to do next year? We know we can't go over the borders because we can't scale there. They're too strong for us. So we cannot, so we have to cut costs. So we're cutting costs, less people, worse food, no blankets for the house, no housing for the horses, no water. So we cut costs, right? And the thing, the very thing that we created that let us have New Jersey's horses, right? We have to cut now and slice off and actually destroy. We have to destroy it. And a lot of things you see with company, they take over, and then that company goes under. It will be taken over by the other company. It gets bigger, bigger, bigger. Will take over, and then goes bankrupt, takes over. And when it gets too big and too many companies and too many people, rich people then we have war. Because there's a reset. It's a system reset, which never need to be. Nature doesn't have to reset. Nature doesn't have a self-destruction. If nature has a destruction, it's human-made, like fires and wildfires and earthquake and chemtrails, and it's human-made. Because it's just insane. And also, by the way, alien. I want to just drop that in here. So we know that we talked about this before the show. We said dogs, right? If you had dogs or cats or pets, every pet is different. Like us, every human is different, right? So you can't generalize all pets. Man, the system tries to generalize now. the pet race, what race the pet is. But still, there's shepherds that do this, and there's shepherds that do that. There's shepherds that eat this. Every human eats their own food. You cannot generalize nutrition and say this is what's good. The food pyramid is the worst, even if it's right. Let's say we're not seeing all the reflection that it was wrong, but let's say it was right. There is no generalization. When you generalize, you segregate, because you humans, it says you and I are men. That's what men need to do. What is if you or I like to crochet? Why can't we not crochet?
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
but you're right.
Why? Why do I have to be a word? We create words that are generalized, and then we have to align as humans to words. You know how much energy that costs? We have to align to become that word.
Michael, this is a big point that you're making. Is that again, it's systematic, right? So we created labels for different things, and everything has to be conformed to these things, right? And if you non-conform to this, you're like the odd, the oddity, right? You're like
shame.
outside.
You're shame.
Yeah, and you're shame. Yeah, and you're right. Like, I love what you said. Like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I am as it is unique. You are unique. Everybody is, right? So why do I have to always be exact? This is how you dress. This is how you do. This is how you do. This is how. So everybody's got their, like, why? Who said that? By the way, in a way, I've always been rebellious about those. I dress differently. I did,
but it's not rebellious. It's not even rebellious. It's not even rebellious.
I mean, that's the expression we use for this.
No,
the challenge.
It's not rebellious. It's actually your higher self doesn't want you to do that, because it says don't do something. It's like fear. When you have fear, you're in the wrong path. You're on the wrong path with fear. So, and let the fear through, and then get conscious and do something else. It's the generalization of our, like, Democrat, and I was a politician and also am a political advisor, right? So I found, why do I have to? As I say, the voting is so freedom. It's such a freedom voting, right? Why, when it comes to voting, the people are most segregated? Because they have to go either red or blue. Why? Why? Because it's the generalization that you have to tribalize. You have to tribalize. This is this tribe or that tribe. It doesn't matter if you're not, because and that's why I hate these predictions, all the thing, because it doesn't make any sense. Nobody in this world was saying that Trump, and I'm not a Trumper. I'm not anything. I'm not non-political. That Trump will not win. There was not a single person, expert, quote unquote, right, that would say Trump is going to win. They all said, we hope he wins. The Republican all said, we hope he wins. But even the Republican didn't think that. And they said, and then he bombed. He bombed. If Biden would have not been here, I saw this information, was interesting. The Democrats would be now stronger. If Trump would have won last time, the Democrats would have won more, would have not lost as much as having Biden in there. So it was like, how can you? We all humans, we know that we're in the middle, and now I'm forced to go out. See, because that's what the condition makes you. So let's say you're a Democrat, but you're in the middle. You're very much like me. Let's say I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat. We're very much alike. As I know you're gonna vote this person. I vote this. But we're everything. But when it comes to voting time, because we have to choose to be that. No, see, we are not even in charge of that. We cannot say, and you get even though not the voting ballot from me, and I don't get the voting ballot from you. Why can I not choose this Democrat, this Republican, this Green person? Because I like them. I've checked them out and I like them. Why? I only am forced to vote for these people. That doesn't work. And when you think of it, that's why podcasts are so powerful. When you talk about it, think about it. What is your alternative thing? You can question everything we said today, but we talked about human centricity. Tell me human-centrically what you would do differently. I'm welcoming anybody that has a that doesn't like what we say, because we're not focusing on something, not blaming on people. We just say, what are we doing, we humans? That is my question. What are we doing?
Well, you've thrown in the key, and I'll call it like it's three letters, one word. Why? The
Yeah.
problem is humans, as humans, sometimes we don't ask the why. We just
Yeah.
go with the flow. The minute people start asking why, then they're aware. And if you're aware,
Yeah.
you're becoming more
Of
more
you, of you are who you are.
of who you are. And then you can start seeing the word, literally
Yeah.
the word becomes clear. I mean, it's like, again, I'm gonna go to the context of the Matrix, which is a
Yeah.
favorite movie of mine.
Yeah.
So you're out of the Matrix, like what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
again,
out of the box. The
yeah,
box
yeah,
is the system. It's
exactly. The
not like there
system.
is no box. For you and me, there is no box. But the box is the system. That's why they say outside of the box. No, outside of everything. The box is the system. And then there's another box that's is the digital world. That's even further away.
And the knowledge I use to that is like, imagine you on the first floor of a building, as
Yeah,
opposed to on the 120th floor of a building.
exactly.
The view is on top of the space, station,
Yeah,
floating around. It's gonna be a whole different view of the world for you,
yeah,
and that's a choice, folks. Again, I love what you said. This is just a pure discussion about humans being humans.
yeah,
We are actually our own enemy. We don't have an extraterrestrial enemy. We actually do destroy ourselves from a lot of ways through our own
yeah,
doing, through our created our systems that are just financially driven in a way. There's more greed that creates that. And because of greed, we kill, we do stuff. And I love what you said about there's a human and there's good and a bad in
yeah,
every human. And that's really what it is. I think as creation, as entities that live on this planet, there's only the good and the bad. And by the way, it's not even the good and the bad. It's really the behavior that's good or bad.
yeah. So
You're
you
not.
understand. You understand yourself. Because if I have a bad choice, let's say I'm a little kid, I'm stealing some money, right? I know it's not right, but I steal some money. But that has, for some kids, that has consequences. For other kids, nobody figures it out. They steal, and so, but you need to have the opposite. You need to understand. You have to get a traffic ticket once to understand the consequences of your actions. I'm not saying, oh, to teach you. No, this is the consequences, because there's people say, I don't give a shit if I have to pay a ticket. I'm just going crazy. So it's and this is you have to see both. And when you don't see both, and actually with the alien, I want to come back because I said with the dogs, they're not the same. What it seems to me like, I'm not an expert, I know nothing, that we will find there is extraterrestrials. It's the same way that, like we said, a tree can see with its leaves, right? And in the winter when it sleeps, the tree or she or it, it drops the leaves, and then a little kid asks, does it not see in the winter? He says, no, because it's sleeping, and we don't see when we sleep either, right? Which is so powerful. I thought that question was so, why? She asked why, right? And what I found is that if let's say we figure out tomorrow there is aliens, I believe the aliens were always here on Earth. We didn't see them because system says it's not. They're always here. They were always here. But let's say we find out now the system says, Michael, you guys, there's aliens. No more thing. It's on the front of the paper. It's everywhere. How we can't even be with our own race. We can't even be the white people, the black people cannot even be harmonious with their own race. Now, are we gonna now? The question is this: are we now combining as human-centric and then fighting the aliens, or are we trying to learn how in the next couple of years to become human-centric? Because it seems like there's a lot of awakening right now, and become human-centric. So we say, okay, that's what I need to do when I come to age, because that's how we dance and that's what we do. And AJ has a different opinion than me, but he's not my enemy. The alien will have different alien, but I can learn from age. Guess what we can learn from the aliens? Imagine that. They have a, I mean, imagine what we could learn from the aliens. I don't, nobody knows aliens, but what we could learn, we learn from animals. Recently, in the last 5, 6 years, people learn so much about animals. You see them even on Instagram, what they do with animals and how the animals interact with humans. Imagine you can interact with trees, you can interact with how interesting life is. You know, you don't even have to focus on the humans. Yeah,
It's funny because I think the fear of aliens physically is
yeah.
because of our own truth.
It's
The reason
us. Yeah,
we fear these alien beings
perfect,
if they
perfect.
exist. You know why? Because we know that how we believe that the stronger species wins, right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
the survivor of the fittest,
yeah,
concept, that Darwinism, at best, right? So when you are, the power
yeah,
that actually goes out and annihilates, entities. I mean, we can go from our history in the U.S.
yeah,
or any
yeah,
any other country in the history, or any dynasty or
yeah,
empire. It was built based on carnage, killing, blah 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 blah. Right
yeah,
now, because we think the one that has the more tools and resources and weaponry
yeah,
and stuff will be the one that's going to have the upper hand, right? And so we think aliens coming in with spaceships from traveling light speed with all the technology, we're going to be the little primitive entity, and
yeah,
therefore we're afraid. So therefore that's a fear. Now here's the thing. You're right. By the way, we think aliens everything that is biological in nature, right?
yeah,
Because here's the thing. I mean, a meteor that falls on Earth, it is an ET.
yeah,
It's just not biological. Maybe there is some
yeah,
biological entity in there. It could be a small bacteria, whatever. I mean,
yeah,
we haven't discovered that. I mean, they do say there's life, for example, on Mars, whatever.
yeah,
There's some. It's not human, made like
yeah,
physical format, but it's some kind of. The bottom line is because our own fears and weaknesses, we actually create this image of these beings coming. I mean, there's a joke about this. If those aliens would ever come here, they wouldn't even entertain us. I mean, we're so dumb still as humans. We're so
we're not
bad at
aware. We are not aware. We
yeah.
proved it to ourselves. We created a technology that is basically us. The fear of the technology is like what you said about the aliens. It's the fear that it will take over once it's conscious and will be acting like us. No, only humans act like that because animals don't. You see animals, they don't act like humans and fight it. They when they are hungry, they eat the weakest
That's
and
right.
eat
Well,
it.
they keep
But
the balance.
yeah, but they're not like, oh, there's 15 gazelles on this thing, and I'm gonna kill all of them. Then the next, I don't have to go hunting as a lion in the next 3 years. No, you just eat, be done, and next time you're hungry, you try to find something else, and you might be going on a fast in between.
Wait, see, Mike, that's exactly so. I mean, listen, the closest to us in an environment is the animal world, right? I mean,
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
coexist in the same,
Yeah.
environment. And the thing is, like, I mean, it's funny because if you go to nature,
Yeah.
first of all, I always say this: animals are cleaner than humans. And by the way, folks,
Absolutely.
don't take this offensive, but just listen to it. What it is, we create more, uh, you know, garbage
Waste, and all
and
that.
waste than any actually than all the creation on this planet, right? Here's
Exactly.
the thing. Animals, if they go and do their business,
Yeah.
they camouflage things. When they eat things, there is nothing left other than the bones, and they decompose also. They go
And
they disappear.
other animals come for the bones.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, there's no leftovers, no waste. We put so
It's
much
never
on
enough.
the ground, on the air, everywhere in the waters, and that's the thing. We're the self-destructing power ourselves. We just do it on our
Never
own.
enough. It's
You know,
never enough.
but it's crazy how we don't even look at these things. Now, obviously, there is all these discussions about trying to clean the environment, do stuff. But you're right. You mentioned something about the cloud dusting, whatever they call that.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah. Cloud seeding. Yeah.
cloud
Yeah.
seeding, right? You talked about there's again we have emissions and those and the others. I mean, I get it. Technology, exists, and there's a price that it's costing us. But we are the ones who destroy ourselves. We are the ones who create hate. We are the ones who create all this stuff. Yet we're supposed to. The thing is, no one lives forever. We come
Yeah.
in, we do a little bit, and we leave. The question: what was your legacy here? I mean, even if we look back in history, We have bad people in history that the history says these were like the most dangerous or the
Yeah.
worst humans ever existed. We have the greatest ones that left us great things. And we, so what would be your legacy, folks? That's all there is. As a humans, are you one of those or one of the others? It's a choice.
Yeah, the thing is unawareness, because I don't believe, for example, Hitler was the person that was overpowerful. No, the humans liked, the humans created it. We created with our anger, with our thing. You think that just one person can say, kill all the Jews? No, there's no way. If there wasn't an anti-Semitic
Really?
tendency in the world, most likely from the financial principles, which is before communism, before everything, where it says it's never enough, no matter what, and there's no alternative. See, in systems, hot and cold, if you're kind of lukewarm, you get hot and cold together. If I don't have an opposite other than you have to cut costs, it's never enough no matter what till I scale to the fullest, and then I have to cut costs. That's non-natural. It's against nature. You have to have an opposite, hot, cold, right, wrong, good, bad. Like you said it. You said, I have to see the negative. I have to see the dark side to enjoy the light side. Because if I don't see the dark side, you have to see it. And so we don't see, it's never enough. So we created a scarcity, and I wrote an article. We can put it in the episode if you want the link about scarcity. We completely created that. That's a mind construct. It's saying, oh, this is the devil. If you were that high as the devil, if you were you were the closest to God, right? And then he dropped, Lucifer dropped, right? He was more aware than you and I times X. And now you wouldn't do that to fight God, right? It's made up. It's a mind construct, so that we can actually see the good and the bad together, you know. But it's not. Oh, he was jealous at God, and now he has to fight him. No, that was a man-made thing. There is a thing, a mind construct of Lucifer. A mind construct. It's never enough. A mind construct. Humans are bad. Yeah, it's a mind construct.
Michael, you're touching on something that is true. We are the ones who, if there's an ideology, if it's not supported, the ideology dies. That one person cannot change the world, but one person with followers that would believe and actually support an idea, they can turn bad and destroy everything. I mean, that's really what it is. You said it. I mean, animal world, right? They don't go for destruction. Let's go kill everybody. It doesn't even make sense.
So that we have something to eat for the next 10 years.
And by the way, that's not even the case, because even if they did, they wouldn't be able to eat it all. It will all go damaged, and they wouldn't have it anyways, and they run out sooner than later. Exactly. That's logically, if you think about it, nature. That's how it works.
Human-centric. We are part of nature. Is human centricity. Right?
Well, you're right. The balance is there. It's just, again, you said awareness. We got to be aware more. We have to question things, and you're right. Like, we ask the right questions? Do we actually identify things? Do we even know who we are personally? I mean, that's the other question. I mean, what is it what is me? What is my contribution? What am I thinking? I mean, the thing, sometimes we are blind to see things. And by the way, there's the cause and effect things, right? We know that if we do this, there's going to be consequences. Some people, they don't see the consequence because they think they're sheltered, or whatever the case may be. Because again, the system will tell you something different. The thing is, folks, everyone watching and listening, everyone that exists will not exist eventually. And that's all there is, whether we accept it or not. I mean,
no, they will exist on another plane. They will.
Well, I'm talking about just, correct. I mean, I don't. Again, that's a whole different discussion. We can have a whole different show about that. We transit to a different realm, to a different dimension, different world. That's called death and life and the hereafter. And that's a whole different thing. And we have different perspectives on that one as well. But the fact is, in this realm right now, currently called Earth, planet, the world that we live in, you have a temporary phase. You come in, spend a couple of years, you don't even remember yourself.
Vacation, a little vacation.
By the way, that's a perfect example. When you go on vacation, you prepare for this vacation, you go to vacation. Once you get to the vacation, clock is ticking. Click. And then a day, 2 days later, start thinking about going back to your original, point of trip. And then now you're back. And that's really what it is. We are if we start the point, there will be an end point. The question is, how do we leave it here? And that's the thing. People they do stuff. They have crazy ideas. And by the way, there's great ideas, of course, on Earth. But you're right. We are the ones who do these things. We do things,
Yeah.
crazy and or better. The problem is we need to start just making small changes, literally one at a time, folks. It starts with you. I
Yeah.
mean, Michael, you said something when you talked about like you can find an apartment in your
Yeah.
area. That is a human thing as well. I mean, we have so much available, yet nothing is available. People are so greedy.
Go to New York in nights. There's two
Oh,
lights
forget
on
it.
in the high. There's people that buy in 50 states to clean wash money. They buy 50 apartments in Manhattan. Two lights are on in this. It's an investment. When they sleep, because this is the third most important. The thing is, we need oxygen, we need water, and we need sleep as three, and then four food. Not food first. And when you when the system makes homes a commodity, like they made water a commodity in California, where one person can. No, this is nature. That's human-centric. Water should never. Air. Okay, H. You pay me $200 that you can breathe, or I'm gonna. You understand that? No,
I get it, man.
this is like existence. That's how system relevant we became. The system relevant in the digital world, we are just totally gone, and everything is a value. Everything can be valued. They can say tomorrow you can't breathe. I mean, water is already a
Gold.
commodity.
Yeah, you
It's, a,
gotta you
it's
gotta
it,
buy it.
yeah, and that should never be. We should go when we do all the changes now. We should go back to water. Water belongs to everyone, and everybody has to be careful that we don't pollute the water and whatever. Like you said, not like nature. Like we're not gonna just screw it up. You can't commoditize human being because without humans, even the controller, they control all. Because there's 40% of humans that work. 40% of working humans on this planet can survive with $6. That's slavery. So also, might wake you up, uh, the listeners. It's 15 to 20% are consumers. So you and I are 15 20% of consumers. Other people have so little money they can't even consume. They're actually producing what is. That's
Okay.
where they get $6 together, right? They exploit it and think and to why would we do this to ourselves? Why? Because it's never enough. The richer you are, the more famous you are, the more you're frightened. They are frightened up there. And they actually, start competing with each other. First, it was all friendship. Now they're starting to compete with each other. They're so afraid of it's never enough, that they lose. Because you and I, what do we lose? We lose the thing, nothing. We get by. But they lose with all the billionaires, the power, the false power, the system power. They lose their fame, they lose their billionaire, they lose all their excess that they can afford, all their perversions, everything. And they are the most afraid. The top people are the most afraid. And that's why they don't care, because they go in fight flight, and that's in the scarcity article. They go in this fight flight, and they say it's either me or you. And
Well,
everybody does. If I put the nicest cat or a dog in a corner, it starts biting me. That's a natural thing out of the DNA.
it's funny because you're right. If you have nothing,
Yeah,
you do not, care about anything.
yeah,
You're happy. I mean, you have to be content. But the point is, you're not going to lose anything that you don't have. But when you
yeah,
start having possessions, now you're worried about losing the positions. And by the way, that's to your point, is human nature. We all have a little bit of that. The more you
yeah,
have, the more you want to keep it or do more of it.
yeah,
The problem, as you said, there's no equity, and so you have people who, to your point, they're just producing, and there are a small percentage that are consuming, and so there's that. And by the way, when you travel around the world, you see a lot of that. I mean, you
yeah,
really see it more as you travel outside of the U.S., for example, and you guys
yeah,
see like people are working and living with very little minimum income or no income, and really just struggling in life. And by the way, now we see it even in the US. I mean, we've seen that, here as well. So it's changing. And you're right, that the small percentage, but here's the funny thing. no matter if you have trillions or billions, I think we're gonna have
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
trillionaires, whatever. But
Yeah.
but even if you are at that level, you cannot, you don't even know what to do with that money because it's just a lot of digits that are in somewhere, in a computer
But it's
system.
never enough. It's
But
never
but so,
enough.
again, I have yet to see a trillion in papers, in money,
Yeah.
maybe in
Yeah.
in one place. Maybe they have it in
Yeah.
somewhere, Fort Knox. But the idea is it's all digital, right? So you can call quadrillions,
Yeah.
gazillions. You can have multiple zeros, and you just you have more wealth, right? But here's the thing: you said something earlier. What happens when you lose your health?
Yeah.
Nothing. The money is not. Maybe it provides you with better care. You may have someone,
Of course.
to care for you.
But it
You
is
may get
not
a
proven that it's better care because Steve Jobs had better care and he tried all. He tried the alternative and everything and he passed. And now they afterwards they say, oh, he didn't do the right thing. Hindsight is always 2020. Where I say, oh, you didn't do the right thing. Sorry, it was your fault. It's always the human's fault. Do you see? It's every time the system blames the human. You didn't do the right thing. I can say that always afterwards. You shouldn't have married her. You shouldn't have done that. There is no mistakes. There is no mistakes. You married the right person and it fell apart and you learned from it. That you learned from it about you. Could you have done it differently? Of course. We can all have done it differently.
Michael. That's the thing. A lot of us are easily, you know, um, pointing the finger at others
Of course.
than ourselves. I mean, normally when we do whatever that point, we point one here as well, or like the other four are pointing
Exactly.
at
Yeah.
you. But the problem is, we do it, I think, just by default because no one is looking here. I mean, accountability and being,
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
at within. That's the thing. Like, we try to find, and that's the other thing. I mean, we talked about social media and briefly. Here's the thing. Like, when you look at social media in general, I mean, all it takes is one little piece of news, and everybody becomes the critic. Everybody becomes,
Yeah.
the influencer on this topic. I mean, really, it's like it's the only thing. Like, fine. I mean, I don't get it, but that's how it is. I mean, that's the world we live in. People tend to look at everybody else, and they're, as we say, do not throw rocks at at somebody's house, when yours is, is made out of glass, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. We look at everyone, but we don't look at faults. Our faults. We are flawed as humans. We're not perfect. We have our own
But we
things.
are perfect. We are perfect.
Well,
In the flawedness is the perfection. We are
well,
perfect.
I, that's a good way to look at it.
I mean, in our flawedness is our perfection. The fact that we generalize, see, that generalization is the killer, not the faultness. When we generalize and it says, H, when you do this, you're faulty, you're wrong. You voted for the wrong person. Totally made up. It's my opinion. It's made up.
But Michael, that's true in a way. The idea that we make a decision based on circumstances at the time. If each one of us had different sets of conditions, they would probably
Yeah.
make 10 other decisions for
Exactly.
the same topic. And by the way, that goes like sometimes you decide one way and then a year later you decide different. Like did you change? No, you just learned different things and now
Exactly.
you're a different
You're more
person.
aware. You're more aware.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like, circumstances will shift. Like you and I will make probably different decisions than someone
Yeah.
else because of our experiences in different ways of life, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, doesn't mean anything. We can make wrong decisions and good decisions as well. We're not perfect. And I like what you said that in our flaw, we are perfect because that's what human nature is. We're perfect, but with those things, that's what makes us a human. Is that the
Yeah.
idea that we're not going to have it all,
Yeah.
guaranteed solid. We're gonna do mistakes. We're gonna try things. We're gonna make sure. Do we have, for example, the question that we hear all the time? Do you regret anything if you have to go back in time and change things? Technically, the answer is kind of weird because do I regret anything that I've done in life? No. Would I have made different decisions knowing what I know now? Probably. Just
Beautiful.
because,
Beautiful. Yeah.
right? I mean, because I know, like, for example, I know, like, if I invested in this stock, simple, right? I would have made money, but I didn't know that then, and so I didn't.
Exactly.
So that's a physical thing. Now,
Hindsight is
emotion,
2020. That's what I
exactly.
said. Yeah.
So it's amazing. I mean, what this discussion today, folks. I told you it's just a unique, open discussion about human and human centric versus
Yeah.
system centric, and frankly, we are it we are the source in a way of who we
Yeah,
are and how we have problems and not problems in life, and we can all make a change, any day individually. I think, and that's the thing. We are 8 billion. There's 8 billion individuals.
yeah,
Each one of those individuals can make a difference. It starts with ourselves, and there are small environments.
yeah.
And if we do it, that ripple effect takes over, and
Yeah.
everything else can be peachy. But we're not there.
But the thing is, the perspective. It's and we hate the perspective. Say, oh, he sees it like this. Oh, you're wrong. No, the perspective is so important because when a car accident, you have 10 witnesses and everybody tells you a different story, right? And if you want to find the truth, you're not going that, oh, I take one person of the 10 person that are all a different perspective on the accident, right? And I always say this example. I said, when you're a woman, right, you feel really sick. Let's say your wife, she feels really sick in the morning. And I said, what we eat? And you said, we ate shrimp. Might be the shrimp that we ate that, put the, and so she keeps throwing up in the morning. And I said, what the hell? She goes to the doctor and find out she's pregnant. Do you see how totally the perception, the awareness of the right thing completely changes your perception and also how you react to that perception? Because she says, oh my God, H gave me bad shrimp, invited me to this restaurant. I should have never gone to this restaurant, right? I should have never gone. And then all of a sudden, oh, we're pregnant. Woo!
Michael, you introduced the idea of that we love to blame everything
Yeah,
else, and we love to be hasty on making calls on and judgments, as opposed to taking a breather and pause and just
exactly.
look at opportunities. What could possibly? Yeah, I tend to sometimes believe to give people the benefit of the doubt. Don't
Yeah,
always misjudge. There's always a reason behind this, and that's the thing. Like the 9 and the 6, right? You see in
yeah,
one way, I see in one way. It's the same
yeah,
number in a way. It's just
yeah,
perspective.
yeah,
And so once we start learning to give that there are other perspectives other than ours, then
yeah,
things will be better. As you said earlier, we can disagree. It's all good. We can disagree to this. We can agree to disagree. No problem. You have an opinion. I have mine. Great stuff. We put on the table. Maybe we'll come up with something that is in the mix. The thing is, we are in control as long as we're aware, and we
yeah,
can change things as long as we want. Now we have biases, and those biases come in from our own environment. Like when you mentioned the example of where people choose to follow a current modality, like in the case of, for
yeah,
example, the Nazis and what they did. It
yeah,
was not one human. It was like I always ask myself this question: well, if he is that bad, why the other ones are following and killing and enjoying the killing? That's the
yeah,
thing. Like they don't have to accept the rule, the orders.
yeah,
People don't have to accept an order just because it's coming from someone. The order has to make sense. And if I don't believe in that, I don't follow the order.
yeah,
And that's really what the problem is. It's that kind of thing. We accept things because they're supposed to. If Hurricane said this, no, Hurricane doesn't tell you anything. You make the own
yeah.
decisions.
Hurricane doesn't know anything. Like I don't know anything. We don't know anything.
Well, in the business
You're
world,
aware.
right?
You're
In the
aware.
in the
Yeah,
business world, we have a lot of that too. You
yeah,
have directive, you have this, but who says that I know it? I know some things because of experience, for example, in certain areas.
yeah.
But there's always someone that's gonna be able to input, have more stuff. So you have to be open to those
A
things.
different experience. Somebody could do exactly what you do, and you're successful, and he is a failure. I've interviewed so many people about success. There is no
On definition.
formula. Yeah, there's no say. Hey, this is it. The only we have a common denominator. We are human. So if you are human centric and and you are part of nature and you understand that, and that's your priority, and from that you go to systems and the digital world, you're fine. You're fine. But you can't mix them up and you can't prioritize. It's it. Oh, they made so much money there. Oh, I've got to be system is more important than me. No, no system has ever given birth to human, and no system is smarter than nature. No digital world is ever smarter than nature. I think that's a good thing to stop. I think we.
I think you're right, man. We started this, and we can go for hours here. So it's
Yeah,
fun stuff. Maybe we'll do a part three on this one. But
exactly.
so Michael, just I know that's where we're gonna end it. Any little advice you want to give people in that same light? Just to wrap it up.
I just say be clear. I think I promise people when they understand human centricity, that we are part of nature 101 and part of the one, what we talked about, when we know system relevance, that is man-made systems, they are all outdated, they need to be updated. So don't gauge your own existence on systems and not on digital world, because digital world is made up. It's a mind construct. It's just totally, it's the least human centric. If you get that and see, know that you are 101, and but you're not disconnected from the other, even from the people that you hate. Just see that what the 101 is. I mean, I literally, and I can send that to you too. I wrote an article about system relevance in digital world, and think, I said, I make sure your life is going to be 50% easier just by being aware of these three, where humans navigate. Humans navigate in the digital world, in the system world, and in the human centricity. And we get less and less. And the sad thing is, we get less and less human centric. You know, kids today, they text. I heard that kids today in sex, they're very digital, very digital. It's not feeling and romance and everything. So we go away into the system relevance and go more and more into the digital world. But I think that's what I would say. And you just re-listen to our podcast. I think if I had this podcast that we just did, I think I have to listen at least 3 or 4 times to it. Really, I'm not saying this because of you, because we had so much, you and I have so much wisdom, and so much awareness and we are human-centric both, that we let it all rip, and we waited so long for this.
Well, listen, I've waited a long time for this discussion, and again, folks, Michael, first of all, thank you for coming on again, and we'll probably do another one. Yeah, we'll do a follow up again.
Why not?
It's powerful stuff. Listen, folks, again, message to everyone. You don't have to take it from us, but certainly to give it a chance to absorb some of this stuff and just see if it works for you. I mean, it might. And again, if it does, great stuff. If it doesn't, well, you just didn't waste anything. You learned how not to listen to us again.
To us.
but so that's the way to look at it. But, which, by the way, that's my way of looking at, failure. There is no such thing as failure. You learn from your decisions and whatever you do. It's either you learn new things or you learn not to do things, in a particular way. So you win at the end. So at the end, even if this is what you take from this call, that's still good.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Well, so that's all there is. Michael, thank you so much for being with us, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Katie.
All right. Well, that's it, folks. This is a wrap for our show today. Hope you enjoyed our discussion, our fun stuff here. I told you we're going to be deep a little bit. So this is deep stuff. You got to be like, wow, but hey, why not? Sometimes we need to touch on these things. Other than that, I'm Hurricane H. We'll be talking soon. New day, new show, new topic. Bye for now.